You send a text, delete it, rewrite it, and then ask 3 people whether it sounds okay. The strange part is that you used to know what you meant. You used to make ordinary choices without holding a committee meeting in your head. Then life changed, and your own inner voice became difficult to hear. If that is where you are today, your self-trust may not be gone. It may simply be buried under fatigue, grief, other people's expectations, or the unfamiliarity of your new life. Welcome to the Self-Care Cafe podcast. I'm your hostess, Pami Parker. Here at the cafe, we take a gentle pause from the busyness of life and gather around conversations that nourish the heart, the mind, and the spirit. On today's menu, we're serving a little reflection, a little wisdom, and a few thoughtful insights to support you as you navigate life's transitions and reconnect with what matters most. So settle in, take a breath, and let's begin. Today, we are looking at a simple practice I call the Self-Trust Evidence File. That name may sound official, but the practice is tender and very ordinary. It is a place to remember specific moments when you listened inwardly, adapted, repaired, rested, asked for help, or chose according to what mattered to you. It is not a file proving that you are always right. It is not a folder of achievements you must present before you are allowed to feel worthy. Let me start with a question I hear often during transitions. What happened to me? I used to trust myself. Sometimes the change is obvious. A relationship ends, a role at work disappears. You move to a new place, become a caregiver, begin a different chapter, or face a loss. Sometimes the change is quieter. Your children need you differently. Your body has new limits. The future you planned no longer feels like the future you want. When the landscape changes, old instincts may not seem to work in the same way. You might know how to be competent in a familiar role, but not yet know how to be yourself in the new one. You may be tired enough that every decision feels urgent and impossible. You may have spent years responding to everyone else's needs, and then someone asks, "What do you want?" There is a long pause. That pause is not proof that you have no wisdom. It may be a sign that you are learning to hear yourself beneath a great deal of noise. So, what do we mean by self-trust? In practical terms, it is the willingness to listen to your experience and respond with care. You notice what you feel. You consider what you know. You admit what you do not know. Then you take a step without demanding a guarantee from the future. That is different from confidence. Confidence often sounds like, "I believe I can do this." Self-trust may sound quieter. "I will stay in relationship with myself while I do this. I will pay attention. I will learn. I will adjust." It is also different from certainty. You can trust yourself and still feel nervous. You can trust yourself and still ask someone wise for perspective. You can trust yourself and make a choice that later needs to change. That last point deserves attention. A careful decision does not guarantee a preferred outcome. You can choose thoughtfully and still encounter disappointment, delay, or loss. The quality of your choice and the result of your choice are connected, but they are not identical. Self-trust is not the belief that nothing difficult will happen. It is the growing knowledge that you can meet what happens with honesty and care. Now, you may be thinking, what would count as evidence? I have not done anything extraordinary lately. Let's make the standards smaller and more truthful. Imagine it is 9:30 at night. Someone sends one more request. You are depleted, and you notice the familiar urge to prove that you can handle it. This time, you do not answer immediately. You write, "I'll respond tomorrow," and put the phone down. What might that reveal? Perhaps you noticed your limit before resentment took over. Perhaps you chose honesty over automatic pleasing. Perhaps you practiced remembering that another person's urgency does not always become your emergency. No dramatic music is required. Ordinary wisdom is still wisdom. Support belongs in this file too. You ask a question instead of pretending to understand. You let a friend bring dinner. You speak with a counselor, mentor, or trusted professional. You say, "I don't know yet," and allow someone safe to sit beside you in the uncertainty. Needing support does not cancel self-trust. Knowing when support is needed and choosing it thoughtfully can be evidence of excellent judgment. If you want to try this practice, choose a format that is easy to reach, a notebook, a phone note, or a plain document. Give it a kind name. Evidence file works, so does what I know about me, ways I am learning, or simply remember. Keep it simple enough that it doesn't become another task you can fail at. For your first entry, write about one specific moment. Not only, "I have survived a lot," although that may be true. Try something more grounded. On Tuesday, I realized I was too tired to make another commitment, and I gave myself permission to say no. Then ask, what capacity or value does this reveal? Maybe it reveals awareness, honesty, or respect for your own limits. For a second entry, choose a moment of adaptation or repair. Perhaps you misunderstood someone and returned to the conversation. Perhaps a plan failed and you made a new one. Perhaps you apologized without making yourself worthless. Your compassionate interpretation might be, "I can learn from an imperfect moment without turning it into a verdict about my character." That is a powerful form of self-trust. For a third entry, include support, rest, or a promise you kept to yourself. You went to bed when your body asked for rest. You made an appointment. You took a walk. You told someone the truth. You accepted help. These moments may look small, especially beside the loud achievements we are taught to celebrate, but small does not mean insignificant. Sometimes the most important evidence is the moment you stopped abandoning yourself in order to appear fine. Your inner critic may object. It may say, "That does not count. Anyone could do that. You should have done it sooner." You do not need to debate with that voice all evening. You can answer, "I hear that you want stronger proof. Today I am practicing accurate attention." Then return to the facts. What happened? What did you notice? What did you choose? What did you learn? Please do not turn the evidence file into a scorecard. If you find yourself counting entries, ranking them, or waiting to collect enough proof before you let yourself feel worthy, pause. The purpose is not to pressure yourself into confidence. It is to create a reliable place where your lived experience can be remembered. Some days, the evidence may be that you rested. Some days, it may be that you got through one difficult hour. That is still part of the record. You can also bring one piece of evidence to a decision that is alive in your life right now. Maybe you are considering a conversation, a move, a boundary, an invitation, or a new beginning. Before asking everyone else what they think, take a quiet moment and ask 4 questions. What do I know? What do I not know? What matters most to me here? And what is the next step that is reversible, kind, or informative? Suppose you write, "I know I have been unhappy in this arrangement for several months. I do not know exactly what will happen if I speak honestly. What matters to me is respect, health, and living according to my values. My next step is to schedule one conversation and decide what support I want around it." Notice what happened there. You did not solve the whole future. You separated facts from fears, values from expectations, and one honest step from an entire imagined life. And when a decision is not easily reversible, self-trust does not require a magical feeling. Anxiety is not always a warning, and calm is not always proof. You can ask what preparation would make the decision more supported. You can ask whose perspective is relevant. You can give yourself time where time is available. Inner knowing is a practice of listening, checking, and responding with honesty. It is not a promise that complexity will disappear. If this reflection brings up painful memories, move gently. Choose an example that feels emotionally manageable. You can stop, look around the room, feel your feet on the floor, or reach out to someone you trust. You do not have to reopen everything at once. There is wisdom in pacing. There is wisdom in support. And there is wisdom in deciding that today is a day for tea, rest, and only a very small amount of remembering. So, when you are ready, gather 3 pieces of evidence. 1 moment when you honored a limit, 1 moment when you adapted or repaired, and 1 moment when you accepted support, rested, or kept a promise to yourself. Write what happened in plain language. Name the value or capacity it revealed, then add 1 interpretation you can actually believe. I am learning to notice sooner. I can change course without abandoning myself. Support helps me make wiser choices. You do not have to leap from doubt to certainty. Trust grows through honest attention, repeated in small moments. You can notice the limit. You can ask the question. You can receive help. You can learn from the choice that did not unfold as planned. You can take the next honest step while some uncertainty remains. If you would like a companion for this practice, visit the Self-Care Cafe website and download the Principal Evidence File Guide. Bring it to 1 quiet cup of tea this week and write down 1 moment you handled with more wisdom than you gave yourself credit for. You will also find additional compassionate self-care resources for life's transitions. Thank you for listening. Take 1 slow breath in. Let it go without needing to solve everything today. Your self-trust does not have to arrive all at once. It can meet you in the next honest moment. Come as you are. Leave nourished.